how did y'all find Michael Ward, or how did the script find Peter?
Chris Abraham knew Michael Ward. He gave him this idea. Find out you only have 3 days to live. What would you do? I think he just threw that out there to Michael, and he turned that into the full-length script.
Somehow his friendship with Peter probably said, "Hey, you got any ideas?" He goes, "Yeah, actually, I got an idea."
Well, me and Peter and Chris had been talking for several months after that
about a guy who only has 3 days to live, and he's been given some advice or some help.
Right. And so those guys were talking, and Peter got the script, and then so we all kind of got together.
How did you become part of the full-length movie as an executive producer?
And I was just kind of the guy in the background trying to see if I could help these two guys make a movie. We kicked it around and we said, let's try to make a movie. And so we did.
Welcome to another episode of East Texas Unfiltered. I'm your host, J. Chad Parker. Today's guest has somehow found a way to make a movie. It's now out on streaming resources, and he's hoping to expand people's knowledge of the movie. We want people to go and watch it. We want people to support people who try these things in Tyler, in East Texas, that people think are not achievable. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But today, someone's going to give us insight into how this all happened. Parker, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad to be available to chat with you today.
Well, it's interesting for me because, I've known you since we were on the swim team in the early, years of our life. And this was the late 70s, right?
Right, a long time ago.
A lot of water under the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
But we find ourselves here today to talk about a movie named 3, as in the number that you were the executive producer on. Is that right?
That is correct.
Before you got into this, I know you went to Baylor because that was required learning for a Charles Clark kid.
Yes, you had to go to Baylor no matter what. Yeah, I tried to go to A&M, and he was like, no. He said, if you either go to Baylor or you pay for it yourself.
So,
said,
Parker, yes. Your brother Colin and
yes.
Melinda, everybody has gone to Baylor.
Everybody.
All right.
Aunts and uncles, name them, they've all been to Baylor.
Well, if one thing, Charles is not a dedicated supporter, or he was. I don't know if he stayed dedicated to Baylor in the later years.
Well, he had a problem when they got rid of the coach down there, Chuck Reedy, and that was his good friend, and so they fired him, so Dad then became a Texas Longhorn fan.
That's what I thought. I thought he joined my Longhorns. And,
he did.
Charles Clark, obviously, I know him just from being a lawyer, and
right.
I don't know if he's still practicing today, but he's getting on up there in years.
He literally just retired last year in December. He's 90 years old, and he is he's a machine. He works out 3 days a week. He does walks. I can't keep up with the man.
Well, he knows the secret to longevity is to keep moving, right?
That is right.
But
stop moving.
But, Charles, had a very impressive legal career just over a span of, I don't know how many years that would be, almost 70, 60-something years?
At least.
Right.
Yeah.
You came up, in a time where we touched upon this a little bit, and I'm not going to go into this, but I remember the JB interview that we had, the Smith County stuff.
Oh,
right?
Wow, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you were a pasture party member back then.
I was in the pasture party back in those days, and JB came in and raided the pasture, which somebody called in everybody, the cops. And so, yes, I was there that night.
Because we heard that story, but not the details of the people that were there. But I had to bring that up because I thought you were there.
I was there. Yeah, I was there, and Dad was the sheriff's attorney at that time.
Yeah, and he was involved in some of the other stuff. But anyway, you eventually would come back and not choose to be a lawyer like him. Is that right?
That is correct.
I mean,
I just couldn't, be honest with you, Chad, I couldn't pass the LSAT, man. I tried it twice. I just couldn't do it. So I decided to be a landman instead.
Well, that LSAT is tough, and it's, you got to think a certain way. It's kind of a weird test, right?
It is a weird test.
I mean, And if you don't practice a lot or have these skills, it's just tough to make a good score.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to get a good score on it. You got to have a certain critical thinking skills. It's not everybody has. So, decided to do the landman work. And so I still get to hang out at the courthouses and stuff. And so
Yeah,
it works great.
you did you go into landman work? I mean, just right out of college? Was that your real first career?
No.
You've done a lot of things, I believe, right?
I have done several things. I did out of college, I went to work at a car wash. It's on South Broadway, the big, large car wash.
Did what, Jimmy Wheeler, somebody used to own it?
He bought it from the gentleman that started it, who hired me straight out of college to help run it. I was an assistant manager, helped build it from the ground up. And so I worked there for 2 years until it went bankrupt. And so after that, I went to work for Dad for a couple of years in his law office and helped him get his cases ready for trial. And I went to trial with him all the time. I really enjoyed picking juries and things and the voir dire and all that. And then after a couple of years of that, I thought I needed to get out and do something else. And so I reached out to some guys like Tom Ridley here in Tyler that I knew and about being a landman. And so he called me up one day and said, "You want to be a landman?" So I showed up and been doing it now for about 35 years.
I'm sure you worked for people at some point, but was there a point when you kind of either had your own company or you developed clients and worked for yourself, or did you always work for someone else?
I've always worked for other brokers, and I've also had times where I've worked for myself with just me and just the oil company. And I've had a women's dress store in my life, and for 3 or 4 years.
Was that out there
That was called Neon Dirt.
Where was that?
Out there in the shopping center behind Brookers, which I can't recall right now. But we had that for 4 or 5 years while I was doing land work. So, yes, I've done several things. I went to Colorado when the land business went down about 7 or 8 years ago, and went up there to culinary school and went through that. And then while I was in culinary school, I worked in a kitchen up there, and then I finally started working at a chocolate factory up there that made THC chocolates.
Huh.
And before I left, I was like the head chocolatier. So that was one of my coolest jobs I've ever had. So then
you had free access to the product.
It was really fun. It was really fun. Met a lot of interesting people up there in Colorado, but then I realized that I need to get back to land work. So I came back in Tyler and got back into land work and back at it again.
I mean, you're living proof once again that the Tyler people somehow, they try to leave, but they always find themselves back in Tyler, don't they?
It is. It's really weird.
I mean,
I tried to. I thought, I'm all right. I made it to Colorado, but no.
I mean, people that came up like we did, went to high school in the 80s and said, "Hey, man, if I get out of here, I'm not coming back."
Right.
And
yes.
We know a lot of those people that are here, and we see them today, don't we?
All the time. I see you all the time.
Yeah. I mean, look, everybody knows I've had Nick Pensis on the show. Everybody knows that, I love Stanley's. I know you love Stanley's.
Yes, I do.
A lot of people do. And I think it's the vibe and the people that hang out there. Don't you think?
Oh, it's a great place. It's like an Austin vibe thing where Tyler, it's one of the only places like that in East Texas.
I agree.
Nothing like it.
We can't really name another place that's even close to that.
No, not up here.
That may not be everybody's thing, but that's our thing, isn't it?
No, it's great. I love it.
But there's a lot of creative people, that migrate and collect up there at Stanley's, right? I mean,
oh yes, for sure.
I don't know if your idea for the movies may have started somewhere else. Tell us the first time that something crossed your mind that you would try to be an executive producer and make a movie.
Well, the way this came about was basically I was in my office one day doing my landman work, and Chris Abraham called me up and said, "Would you like to go with me to lunch? There's a guy that we're going to shoot a short film with in Tyler. We'll go meet him." And I said, "Sure." And so we're going to Rick's on the square because
Right.
that's where we're going to shoot the short film. I said, "Oh, sure." So I go over there and I have dinner with Peter Ney, our director, and Chris, and I basically sat there like I know what I was doing. And then at some point we left and to go scout locations.
I mean, but when you came to this, did you know you were meeting as a potential investor, or were you just there because somebody asked you to come?
I was there just to ask to join and eat lunch.
And as the conversation went on, I guess, did you get more interested in what you were hearing about what was possible and what they were trying to do?
Oh, yes. I got dialed in on all this whole thing and how they were going to shoot down in at Rick's and how they were going to film it behind the bar. And, oh, this sounds pretty neat. And so, excuse me. Yeah, at some point after we finished dinner, Peter is from Austin. He said, "We need to go scout the other locations, Chris." And Chris said, "Okay." And so, "You want to come on that too, Parker?" And I said, "Sure." And so we go to scout a bank. He's looking for a bank. And Chris took him to some bank out on Copeland Road. No, it doesn't matter. But it's a real modernized looking bank. And Peter walks up to me and goes, "Parker, there has to be an old bank somewhere around this town. I need an old bank. I don't need some new bank that looks like we're in a strip mall." So I said, "Well, there's an old bank in Troop."
Right. Troop Savings and Loan.
Yes. And so it's been sitting out there empty for years, decades.
Since the 80s.
The 80s when the Savings and Loan went bust and that guy went, that's another story. But
right. I mean, some people, you were going to say that guy went to prison or whatever, right?
Right. Yeah. He went to jail and it just sat there empty for all these years. And so I said, "You want to drive to Troop?" He said, "Let's go to Troop." And so we drive to Troop and we get out there and he loves the bank. And then he says, "We need some cop cars." I said, "Well, I have a friend, Brent Spinks, who has a security company. I can get you all the cop cars you need."
Brent Spinks, the lawyer.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Brent has a security company, or he did at the time.
Oh, he does.
Okay. So he could get some cars that they look like cop cars.
They're old cop cars that they buy for their security company, for his people to drive around in.
So this is Peter Ney, like
Peter Ney.
NEY. He's going to be ultimately the director of this film.
That's correct.
And so it seems like you are proving useful to this endeavor early on with multiple things: location, the cars, right?
The cars. He needed a truck. I got my brother's truck for him. He needed tools. I got all that. Everything he needed, I basically turned into the producer of that show.
Okay. Is that how because this was going to be the short film that they shot, which I believe was 13 minutes, something like that?
Yes.
I've seen it on the internet, right? And I was confused at first when I said, it says 13 minutes. Then it says 1 hour and something.
Right.
And I go, what is that? So I'm assuming that the short film it seemed like it could be successful maybe, and they decided to then make a full-length movie?
Yeah. So they shot that film, and we shot another one, but that's called Cowboy Billy, or Little Happy at the time. But we shot that film, and then we entered it in film festivals.
For short films, just,
And so we got selected to be in the film festival in Lake Placid, New York. And so we all go up there and we go to the film festival, and we were in the top 10 short films. And I think we finished like number 2 in that film festival. And so it kind of morphed from there.
All right, that's good. I want to unpack a little bit of this, but it does give us some range here.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Nade, I guess he's living in Austin. I don't know if he went to UT, radio, television, film school or not, or he was just living there to pursue directing.
No, he's originally from Buffalo, New York, and wound up out in California in Hollywood. And his main background was TV, unscripted shows such as Beat Bobby Flay, any of the cooking shows. He did a show on the Sci-Fi Network called Face Off.
Would he be filming? When you said Face Off, you talking about the John Travolta?
No, it was a show, 12 season show about people who do the prosthetics works and stuff on your face.
So this guy had the ability. He knew how to make a show.
He knows how to direct, yes.
And I don't know if he was actually a guy who would film, but he knew how to.
He would get the people to do the filming, but he knew how to shoot it and then edit it and then put it on a
all right. And so,
platform.
Did he ever say what his interest was in this, short film 3 and Tyler, Texas as a location? What drew him here?
Well, Chris Abraham again, who has recently passed away. Those guys met in Hollywood, California in the early 90s. Chris was a bartender and trying to be an actor, and somehow Peter and Chris worked on some kind of commercial or something together, and they kind of sparked up a friendship. And so they kept in touch for a while. Then I think they lost touch, and then the next thing you know, Peter and his wife, who is head of NBC programming of some sort. And so they moved to Austin about 4 or 5 years ago. And so that's when Peter and Chris had an idea about doing this movie 3. And they got Michael Ward from Tyler to write the script.
Now, the idea for and I don't know this about the industry, a short film, is the idea behind that to make a short film to see if it has any traction with the audience in order to kind of say, yes, this is a good idea to extend the project and make a full-length movie?
Yes.
I mean, I would
say that is a good way to start. Now, there's some people that's all they do is make short films. I mean, you can watch the Academy Awards and
they get awards for short films
for that. So that a lot of them just do those. But yes, it's a good vehicle to turn it into a full-length feature film.
Did you have any type of executive producing credit on the short film 3?
No, I was just in it.
Okay. And so you had a small part. And who did you play in the short film?
Chris and I played, well, no, I was not in 3, my bad. No, I was in the bar and the background person. Okay.
Yeah. So you were what they call an extra.
I was an extra.
Because we know you played the coach, which we'll talk about
right.
in the movie that would be made. But right. At that point in time when you were extra, was that your first time ever in a film or around a film being made?
Yes.
And I'm sure you're kind of getting the bug now after you've kind of helped them get this going, and then it actually starts being shot. You're actually in the background,
right?
And then it gets put out right after it's completed.
Like I say, we took it to a lot of film festivals, and we actually won 2 or 3.
Can that make any money? Can a short film 13 minutes long ever make any money?
No.
What's the what have you learned would be the reason? Is this practice? For these guys that are directors to make these short films, are they practicing their craft, their trade, but just doing it on a much shorter and easier scale?
Well, I think in Peter's situation, he had always done television, basically what he calls it's unscripted, because it's all live television type deal where
nobody's memorized any lines.
No, it's an unscripted deal. And he wanted to branch out and start making full-length scripted movies. And so that's when he and Chris talked got to talking to one another, decided to make the short. And so,
did Chris invest? Was he an investor, or was it just that Peter?
They just knew each other.
Was he looking for a place to film that was inexpensive, cheap, or free? And maybe Chris was the intersection for that.
I think it was, yes. Chris he knew the people up here. He knew he could get us in Rick's.
Right.
It wouldn't cost a lot of money to film there. So they shot the whole thing for probably less than $5,000 to $10,000.
All right. And so this gets done. It gets put out. Do you actually watch it on the internet somewhere at some point?
I think he might have put it on the internet for a while. Peter, that is, but not long.
All right. So really, the short film seems to be for Peter just kind of a way to walk before you run in making the film.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of get your...
Right.
Because, I'm thinking as a director, you'd have to get, lights, location, camera.
Well, they had that.
You'd have to coordinate all this, but there'd be much fewer scenes, so it'd be easier to pull it off.
Right. So, for example, when we shot the short for 3, we did it at Rick's. So the only scene we shot was the bar scene with, in our movie is Eric Roberts shot that scene there.
We're talking about the full length feature.
Right.
Because Eric was not in the short.
No, but we shot that at Rick's, which was that one scene, and then we shot the other scene when the teacher gets fired. So you shoot him at one place. We shot that at John Tyler, and he gets fired, and Chris actually played the guy in the short that gets fired. No, he's the one that does the firing. So then the guy goes to the bar and meets the Oracle, who...
Now we're talking about the full-length feature.
But that's what's in the short. So that's the only part you ever see. And the only thing, those 2 scenes are it.
Okay, for the short.
For the short.
But do they use those same scenes when they make the full length, or did they reshoot those scenes?
We shot all that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, so that gets us up to you're kind of getting involved. That's right. Over with. And then when do you first hear that Peter, the director, wants to make a full-length feature out of this?
Well, me and Peter and Chris had been talking for several months after that, and I was just kind of the guy in the background trying to see if I could help these 2 guys make a movie. And so Michael Ward, who's a teacher in Tyler, wrote the full-length script for the movie, and we kicked it around and we said, let's try to make a movie. And so we did.
How did y'all find Michael Ward, or how did the script find Peter?
I
don't know.
Chris Abraham knew Michael Ward through the theater, I believe. And so he gave him this idea. If you find out you only have 3 days to live, what would you do? I think he just threw that out there to Michael, and he turned that into that full-length script.
And then somehow his friendship with Peter probably said, hey, you got any ideas? He goes, yeah, actually, I got an idea. A guy wrote a script in Tyler about a guy who only has 3 days to live, and he's been given some advice or some help.
Right. And so those guys were talking, and Peter got the script, and then so we all kind of got together, but it was mainly Peter and myself and my better half, Sandy Dearman, who we formed a company and decided to try to make the movie.
All right. Were they looking to you guys to finance the movie at this point, or be an investor? How did you become part of the full-length movie as an executive producer?
Yes. They wanted me to be the investor.
Did they say, hey, can you go
round up some money and make this movie? And it's always, well, how much money do you need to make a movie? And of course, I always think millions of dollars. I can't do that. And so, yes, that was my main role at that time, was to go try to find people to give money to make the movie.
Did they give you a budget like, hey, could you get us X dollars?
Well, we started out real like 150. We can shoot it for 150. Then we get more and more into it, and it was like, man, maybe more like 200 or 300,000. So it keeps going up all the time.
Did it ever stop? Where did it stop?
Yeah, it finally stopped. Well, I'll say this: it stopped less than $1 million.
All right. So we know that, to make a film of any real quality, it's going to cost, between $250,000 and $500,000, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Because what we'll see is, there are different actors, some have smaller parts, some are the lead, I'm assuming they have to be paid and don't do it for free.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
I guess who would negotiate, to get, or who would get the actors that ultimately end up in 3? Whose job was that?
That was Peter Ney. We hired a company in California, the talent company
that places talent,
and we send them a copy of the script, or we send them a piece of it to look at, and then they can reach out to people they know to get them see if they would interested in to be in our movie. And so I remember I remember looking at 4 or 5 different guys and gals that would read to each other on the internet and try to see if they would, gel and match and everything. And so,
would y'all look at that over Zoom?
Mm-hmm. And so Dean Frank, that was the guy who did that. And then John Aguirre, who's our producer, one of our producers, he got Eric Roberts and Michael Paré and Anna Grace Barlow. So it kind of was a combination of the talent guy, and John, who had been doing this in the business for 30 years.
What's the difference between a producer that you mentioned, this John Aguirre, who went and got some of the talent, and executive producer, which is what you're credited on?
Well, executive producer is usually the guy who
rounds up the
money. So if you watch our movie, there'll be people on there, and there'll be several executive producers. And so those are the people, when you go to the movies, you see executive producers, they put the money up. When you see a producer, that is the person who brings it all together. You make sure you have everything, your setting, your sets, your all the equipment, everything you need to produce a movie.
That's actors,
location, get paperwork done. You got to go through SAG. You got to do DGA paperwork, which is the Directors Guild of America. So you have to do all this stuff with to get most of those actors, and yes, they have to get paid, and you have to pay other fees for SAG and those types of things.
Even if the film is being shot or made in Texas?
We shot this in New Mexico.
Okay. All right. That was my assumption there. That's wrong. But I did see that y'all won a lot of awards that seem to be connected with the state of New Mexico, right?
True.
So I'm assuming New Mexico may be more heavily unionized than, say, Texas, as far as, shooting these films?
Oh, no. Just the opposite.
Okay.
No. The main thing about it, at that time in New Mexico, you could get up to 40% tax break. Texas was like 22.5%. So you can get a better tax break. So for every dollar you spend over there, you get 40 cents back. So
that's why y'all chose that location?
Yes. I mean, New Mexico is very good. Louisiana is Georgia, it shoots all types of stuff over there now. That's because they get really good tax break incentives for people to come shoot movies over there.
I thought I'd read or heard it was suggested that Texas was kind of aggressive in trying to get the movie industry to build up. Is that true?
Yes, it is. Woody Harrelson and the man that does Matthew McConaughey. Yes, they've been pushing real hard to get Texas to put money in to build the movie, and they've done that this past legislative session.
Yes.
Session. Thank you. That they have actually put forth they've put a big deal out there where you can get some good tax incentives in Texas now.
All right. Well, that's a good thing. I think people
Yes.
would be excited to see more films made in Texas.
Yes, I would like to do the next one. And shoot it in Tyler because it happened in Tyler. So I would love to do one in Texas. That's my next. I would love to do
Wait,
that.
do you have a script or something that you're thinking about when you say it happened in Tyler? Is there something? Is this a true story? Is this fiction?
That's a true story.
I mean, do you want to give us any insight, any breaking news on potentially the next executive produced Parker Clark film?
Well, it's a movie about Peggy Jo Tallis is her name, and she was a lady who robbed banks in Dallas in the 80s, early 90s. She robbed 8 or 9 banks
By herself?
By herself, and she dressed up like a cowboy. She wore a cowboy hat, fringe jacket, sunglasses, a beard, cowboy boots and everything, and walk in a bank, hand them a little deal, give me all your money, and they would. And she'd go get in her car, and she did that for a while and got away with it.
Well, that's still, they put all the cameras at every intersection now. You couldn't get very far nowadays.
No. And so basically what happened is she finally gets caught in Dallas. She decided to rob 2 banks in one day.
Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
Yeah, and she forgot to change the license plate back. And it had her real license plate on it on the second robbery, and somebody got it. And next thing you know, she's in jail. She gets out of jail after 3 or 4 years because she didn't have any weapons on her. And so then she goes somewhere in East Texas and just like Lake Tawakoni or somewhere and sells fish bait for a living until one day she gets in this little minivan and drives to Tyler, robs a bank out on Broadway, and goes down toward south, and they surround her car, and they end up shooting her. But she pulls a water gun on them.
And so that's
police.
that ends the movie with her death.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. But have you guys made any progress towards, funding for that film to get it made?
Not yet.
All right. So
we're looking for people, Chad.
It's really in the it's in the concept phase.
We have a script. We just need some funding.
What about the script? Was the script written locally for that story, or did it come from someplace else?
This came from a girl in California that Peter Knight knew, but our 3 came from a local teacher in Tyler, Michael Ward.
So you've got some other projects, other potentials that you're thinking about?
There's a couple more.
I guess a lot rides on the success of 3 in a way, because if it's successful, if it makes money, then it will seem to be an avenue maybe to make some other movies.
Yes, it's kind of like your calling card. Say, hey, look, I made a movie, and guess what? We got our money back, or we actually made a little bit of money. So if I had that in my back pocket going around looking for people to invest, it might help. So hopefully 3 will do well, and we'll see.
You got the money together. We've talked about that. The producer got the actors. I mean, Anna Grace, of course, people may know her from the Jesus Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the other male lead actor recognize him. But of course, everybody knows Julia Roberts' brother, Eric Roberts. He's been in a lot of stuff. And
absolutely.
He plays a small role, right?
He's the Oracle. Yes.
He's the Oracle, I guess, with the information or the, and here's one of the movie posters, and we can see Eric Roberts on the far left, and Michael Perret, if everybody remembers him from Eddie and the Cruisers.
Absolutely.
That was a great movie.
Absolutely.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
Totally
agree.
I love all rock and roll
and the
films.
Soundtrack was fantastic.
It was. It's funny. I watched the Buddy Holly story just 2 nights ago.
Oh, wow.
I love watching that stuff. A Lubbock, Texas guy.
Right.
How they made it, New York, and tragically killed with the Big Bopper and Richie Valens. which was a sad ending. But
didn't Waylon Jennings give up his seat on the plane?
I don't know if it was Waylon Jennings, but somebody did give up their seat on that plane. And you can see the number 3 is the name of the movie, people. So if you search for it or look for it, don't look for THREE, look for the number 3.
That's correct.
And you can see the bottom, it kind of introduces the curiosity to the show. What if you only had 3 days to live? Which is, probably a question that many people have asked themselves in one way or another. Like, what if you only had 24 hours? What if you knew you were going to die in a year? What would you do?
Right.
What would be important to you?
Right.
Would it be, kindness, resolving beefs, or would it be total, hedonistic, blowout?
Right.
I mean, you just don't.
You could sit here and have a complete round table discussion on what would you do in your last, only had 3 days to live.
And the film is a film that, the lead character, I guess his name would be Caleb
Rumener.
Right. He chooses the path of, reconciliation, it seems, to make sense of what his life was and for it to end, on a high note.
Right. He was a great artist and decided he couldn't do art anymore due to his father's death. And so he decided to go be a teacher in elementary school. And so
that didn't work out.
And so he meets the Oracle. And so he basically says, you got 3 days to live. So he's trying to reconcile with a brother he lost to drug addiction and his dad dying, and he meets somebody. So it hits on a lot of different things that people have happen to them in society all the time. Death in the family, or drugs, and
or just disappointment that you finally found something and it's not going to be there, or something along those lines.
And it's not. Yes, he couldn't. His passion was art, and that was his main thing, and he felt like he'd failed at that.
Well, we're going to leave the rest for people to watch this thing because, you also now have the designation of actor, right?
Right.
You did have a role as a coach in the classroom, right?
Correct. I'm a coach. Yes, I'm a coach.
My question would be, have you ever had any acting classes, ever acted at all in anything before this role?
2 other times when we started doing after the short film, Chris Abraham was big involved with the Tyler Civic Theater. So on a whim,
you took a role.
I went down there and auditioned for this role and got it. And yes, and so I was on a little 2 or 3 day run at the Tyler Civic Theater. And after that, I thought, that's kind of fun. So we did a dinner theater one time where I played a gangster, and that was fun. And so Michael Ward asked me, he's like, would you like to play the coach? And I said, absolutely.
Why not?
I would love to. I enjoy it. It's not great, but it's fun to do.
The Tyler Civic Theater production, what was it, and who did you play in that? Your first, entrance into acting.
I was. It had to do with these 5 guys that would meet once a year to play poker, and we'd all sit around the table and
just
talk about. Most of us, a lot of them were talking about all their ailments with their prostate or their eyes, and they can't see, and then all kinds of.
Were they older guys?
Oh yeah, I was the youngest one. Most of them were 60 and over, and then their wives would meet there. So that was like the first act we play cards, and I was Stan, the man from Maine. If you can imagine me having a Maine accent, I tried to do, which was pretty funny. And that was the first act. And the second act was the wives of all these men would come and play mahjong in the second act, and they would talk about their husbands and stuff like that. And so
it was just a conversational
but it was very funny. It was very funny and poignant, and yeah, it was really good.
But the
enjoyed it.
Tyler Civic Theater, I mean, that's a very nice facility that
Oh.
has a lot of talent out there that
Oh.
people in Tyler, if they've never been to a show or never seen it, they don't know what they're missing, right?
I will tell you this: they have got some fantastic talent at Tyler Civic Theater. I've been to a lot of their plays since I've started involved in that, and they've got. I don't want to go back and try out for a part these days because the talent's so good.
Yeah, I mean, and
They're really good.
there's a skill to acting, you know. I mean, everybody thinks they could kind of do it, but when they said, you know, action, and you were the coach and you had to come into the classroom and start talking, I mean, were you nervous? Had you practiced your lines? You felt like you could pull it off? How'd you feel?
Oh, I'd read my lines over and over and over. I had Sandy going over them with me constantly, but you know, I was very nervous because you know, Caleb, and he's been on TV before and
Professional actor.
Professional actor, and so yeah, I was a little intimidated by it, but luckily, I think Peter edited me down pretty good, so I didn't look like I was completely lost.
But I mean, that's what a director's for, right? Did he give you any direction? So, because there was some body language, you know, you were kind of a goofy coach in a way,
Right.
So, I mean, there was a bit of body acting along with the lines.
Oh yes, I'm supposed to be the asshole coach that likes to mess with the dadgum the teacher, the art teacher for the third graders. So I'm in there I'm always teasing the guy.
Right. It's kind of, you're playing the stereotypical, you know, jock coach who doesn't have an appreciation for a less physical activity like art.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of that.
Just think of John Goodman in Revenge of the Nerds is kind of my role.
Well, you pulled it off. I mean, it's a decent sized part. I mean, you have one scene, right?
I got two.
Oh,
two little small ones. But,
I forgot that.
I'm teasing him both times, so you know.
Well, it had to be fun because, you know, on a bucket list, Parker, most people cannot say that they acted in a movie.
No, you're right.
Most people can't say they executive produced a movie.
No, that's correct.
Most people can't say that movie ended up on the streaming services that people could watch, right?
That is true.
Because we know that it's on Prime right now.
Right.
And I'm not sure, do you know specifically the others or some of the others that it's on?
It is on every streaming service out there just about except Netflix.
Is there something difficult, or is there a bar of some kind that you have to hurdle in order to get your show on Netflix?
You need a name actor helps, and that helps a lot.
Okay.
And yeah, that's kind of the biggest bar you got to hurdle. And so we have actors that have not just made it big yet, but Caleb is about to be in a M. Night Shyamalan movie in November.
It's got to be scary and a horror.
Right. So he's going to be in that. And he was also in the Ed Gein story on HBO. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but he was in an episode of that. So I think he's making a name for himself. And Anna Grace is doing work in Broadway right now.
Do you think that those actors work after the making of 3, if they're successful, could pull the film up?
Absolutely.
You know, it's almost like Robin Hood Brines when he was here talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, Chad, whenever we made that third ZZ Top album that had LaGrange on it,
mm-hmm.
he goes, everybody went back and bought the
other
early
before.
Right. And I'm just wondering if that concept of success might not, if they get successful, or if Caleb turned out to be the next, right, that they started looking,
oh, let's go look at that movie.
Let's go elevate these movies, and then maybe Netflix bumped it up, right?
That's true. That could very well happen, you know.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, that would be
Let's
awesome.
pull for Anna Grace and Caleb from this point forward.
Absolutely.
But in the interim, when you go to Prime, which I've seen it,
mm-hmm.
I've gone to Prime to make sure that it was there, and it's there.
It's there.
And it's there to rent. You can rent it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't think the movie's out anywhere for free. I see it.
No, it's rental, video on demand is what they call that.
Right.
Or, we'd love you to buy it. But yes, rent it. If it's $3.99 or $4.99 on each platform, it's Apple TV, Google and Prime. They're on all YouTube.
Well, I've seen the movie, and I think you're right. It's about $3.99 or $4.99 for the rental, and I mean, my own personal opinion, it's certainly better than a lot of things that are out there, and so it's worth watching. And we're going to encourage everybody who's watching this show to go watch the movie, to tell other people about it, because it supports, obviously you and somebody local who put the money behind the movie with others, right, and got it made.
Yes.
I'm
all about the arts. I love that stuff.
And we saw some of the awards that were indicated on the top of that movie poster, but here they are a little easier to see. And so the response to the movie thus far has been pretty positive, right?
Yes. We actually had a first showing here in Tyler at the Liberty Theater when we first got it out. We started putting it in film festivals. So we had a big showing at the Liberty, which was literally sold out. And I had a lot of people coming out of there saying they love the movie because there's no cussing, there's no violence, there's no bad language, there's no sex, and they kind of thought it was a very wholesome, uplifting movie. So they really liked it.
Well,
it's got a good message.
It does. That's what I said earlier. It's like the character chose the path of reconciliation, not revenge, not violence, not sex, not going wild. And the movie reflects that, right? The people in there seem pretty wholesome. The stories are real.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. There's not just this, unnecessary profanity that's just laced in the movie for no reason, right?
There's no,
And it is refreshing, and I'm glad you brought that out, because I don't, that's a category that we don't see that much of nowadays.
No, you really don't. I had several women come out of there crying. They were like, "I just really loved it," and I was like, "Really?" But they would say they loved the wholesomeness of it, and it was something they could show their family and not be embarrassed to sit there with their mom or something or dad and watch a movie.
Yeah, and you think about watching it with your kids. If your kids are younger, early teens, whatever, you're always kind of like, I don't know if
you never know what's going to pop up.
Right. And my comment was going to be, who would ever thought that, Parker Clark would have brought us the movie of modesty, chastity, and the lack of profanity.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you have a good point.
You took you head faked them on this movie, but it was good. I mean, it was good. Now, when I say it's good, not only does New Mexico Film Festivals recognize it, but I think it's worth mentioning that the World Fest in Houston International Film Festival recognized the film as being good.
Absolutely.
And that's not just, a thank you from New Mexico for shooting it there.
No, not at all. We won the best grand jury award and best picture in Las Cruces International Film Festival, and there was 100 or so films in that festival. The one in Houston had over 300 films in it. So for us to get recognized there also is a really big deal.
Well, I mean, most of these are best in show, people's choice, audience choice, and then the Houston is gold. So there's something about this that's better than all the others, or most of the others being submitted.
Yes.
And if you think about it, Netflix and the other streaming services are all starving for content. So there's a huge need for films, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so.
That's probably what opened this avenue, at least in Peter Nye's mind. And then, you kind of got the bug, and here we go, right?
Correct.
You just got to find a pipeline to success and then to financing.
That's it.
That's it, right?
Right.
But in all this success and the fun of making this movie and you participating in it, you got to go to some things. And we've got another slide, I think, here. At some of the different festivals.
Oh yeah.
We can see you in the first one on the far right here.
Oh yes.
You're in some of these. I don't know if you're in all of them, but down here at the very bottom, we see you.
It's Peter Ney,
Uh,
and yes, he was one of our helped with the editing and everything on the post production.
Guy on the far right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't give those guys enough credit on this show in the post production. That's for you, Chris and Slayton. But no, it's very important because it's one thing, the talent gets on screen.
Right.
Somebody's got to film. Somebody's got to edit. Somebody's got to package it together, right? I mean, it's a process.
There's a lot of people involved.
Yeah. And it's, and quality work, video, audio, it's not as easy as people think.
No. I've learned a lot, especially about the audio and how that works and the whole thing. I enjoy going out to the sets all the time and watching them shoot everything.
I don't know if there's anything, out here at TJC or UT Tyler that, could further educate you. I mean, I don't even know if they have any type of film related support schools at either college. Do you?
Michael Ward, the writer, he teaches a film class out at UT Tyler, or he has, or still does, but yes.
I wonder what that class entails. I mean, wonder what's in that class that you could learn as a student, is it?
Tries to get you, I think, teach you how to make films, and I don't know. I guess.
Since he's a writer, I wonder if he was trying to write. But anyway, it looks like, it had to be fun for you. It's a great experience, and it's certainly a huge
Fantastic
diversion from going to the courthouse and running title.
Right. It was fantastic. Yeah, it's fun. It was a blast.
Even though running title now, so much is online, it makes it easier, doesn't it?
You don't have to leave your office hardly.
All right. And I don't know if there are software tools like AI or otherwise that are come about where they could run it and check it. And
I think it's coming.
Right. I mean,
I've been reading articles about that.
And I mean, I hadn't even heard that, but I'm just speculating that I could see how an AI tool could scour a courthouse record book.
Put a run sheet together real fast.
And say, okay, we need to go find this error right here, or something like that.
Start looking. I mean, yes, I have that fear almost.
Well, that is, I mean, I think that's the anxiety and fear of a lot of people, that so many jobs could be connected to something computer, very fast, quick, and accurate, right?
Yeah. Real quick.
The next couple of years is going to be interesting, right?
Very much so.
But like a plumber, like an electrician, you're going to still need people to make a movie unless they just make it out of completely AI characters.
No, you don't want to do that.
Right?
I mean, everybody loves movies and everybody has a story to tell, and I enjoy stories, and people send us scripts all the time that I read, and it's a little horror movie I'd like to make. I love stories.
Why do you think that there's so many of these films that are made by independent people that are horror slashers, scary? Why does that thing really just blow up and with people trying to make a film?
That's the new genre right now. We got asked to help produce a movie after we finished 3 last year in New Mexico. And they made a little horror movie, and so we helped them scout the locations and help
some woods out in the woods somewhere.
We got actually it is kind of out in the woods somewhere.
Hey, what's that? A can of Vienna sausage over there. Somebody been here? What's going on? And then all of a sudden somebody.
But we had an old jail there in in Las Cruces that's been deserted, and we used the basement, and it's got all the jail. It's pretty creepy. And
that reminds me of that TV commercial. Have you seen it? It goes, they were like, where should we go hide? He goes, let's go get behind the chainsaws over there. Have you ever seen that?
I think I have seen
and
that.
The other guy goes, why not get in the running car?
Right? Why hide over there?
But, I don't know. I don't like extreme violence. I don't like to see the crazy things that they, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, people, and it's just like everything.
A weird deal. It's just, I think they go in cycles, and because even people would say we're trying to get it distributed, and they're like, well, love stories and rom-coms aren't that popular right now. But,
and that's so true of the industry. Like, musicians have faced that their whole life. It's like right now, we're looking for we're looking for Motley Crue lookalikes right now. We're not looking for Messina and Loggins.
Right.
Remember when
Right.
the 70s to the early 80s? I mean, you probably were a heavy metaler. I don't know if you were or not.
Of course.
Did you ever go to the Start Club in Dallas?
I think I did in college.
Yeah, no, that's the craziest place ever.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And that was during the new wave punk.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, right when it kind of came in?
Yes.
All right, Chris, what do we got next after the excitement of the festivals? Let's go to the show a little bit, okay? Now, one way to get people's attention in a movie is to have an actor that everybody knows.
Right.
Usually it's the lead, but leads cost money.
Right.
So the next best thing is John Aguirre and the moves that he made to get two guys that we know.
Right. Eric Roberts and Michael Paré.
Are we going to play this clip? Okay, yeah. See, look, there he is. Is this this is at Rick's?
That's it. No, this is at New Mexico.
Oh, they shot
That's
that.
in the short is at Rick's. But yes, they're shooting. This is the scene where he tells him he's going to, you're going to die in 3 days.
And there's your logo. When we picked this up, it was going to be streaming in 7 days. Let's go to the next one, Chris, and see Michael Paré, Eddie and the Cruisers.
Right.
Remember?
He was great. He's been in a lot of TV shows. The other night we were watching something and Sandy goes, "That's Michael Paré right there. He's a cop on this show." So he's been in a lot of stuff. But
yeah, I mean, they were kind of like, I hate to say B movies.
Character actor type stuff.
Just below some of the major stuff. He's been in a whole lot.
Right.
And do you know what it would cost or what it did cost to have a guy like that, Michael Paré, in your movie? I mean, that's the one question I'm sure everybody wants me to ask.
Yes, I know exactly what he costs because I had to go take him the money.
Is it proprietary or confidential? Or is it something you don't want to disclose because other actors might say, well, I'm worth more than him if you try to make another movie?
I better not say.
Okay. Eric Roberts, is he more...
Great. He's cool.
You liked Eric?
I loved it.
Was Eric more expensive or less expensive than Michael? Is that a question?
Eric and they were about the same.
Okay.
About the same.
Because they have both the same careers in a way.
Eric, if you look Eric Roberts up, he's been in more movies than any human being on the planet. He's been in over 700 movies. And when he left our movie, he went straight to another movie in North Carolina.
Now, when you shot the footage that included, let's say, Michael, we'll start with Michael. When you shot this is and he comes to New Mexico to do the shoot?
Yes. We fly him in, put him up.
And that's part of the deal. You have to pay for his transportation, get him there.
Right.
How is he committed to a 1-2 day? How many days?
We shot him out in a day. It was a 1 day shoot.
Usually
gets in there the night before, spends the night, and we get up and shoot that scene at the church most of that day. And once that's over, he's through.
Yeah, and that kind of signals part of what we talked about. He's talking to a priest about how should he live his life, right?
Well, he's saying what happens when I die.
Yeah,
and where do I go if I die? And the priest. He's like, tells him who knows where you're going to go. But the main thing is,
are you sure that was a Catholic priest?
No, it's a
Episcopalian.
It was Episcopalian. We were going to shoot that scene in a Catholic church, and we had to get permission from the
diocese,
whoever. Yes, down there at the Catholic church, they read our little spat. Whatever he was language in that movie.
And that was a rejection.
They told us no.
Okay. You needed to be a little bit more
specific.
Right. You need to get on the
yes,
the Nicene Creed.
Correct.
Okay.
They did not like that, so we went to an Episcopal church, and there was a gorgeous little church they let us use, and they did not have a problem with it.
There you go, Parker. I mean, now you're part of Hollywood. You're watering down the good book and the faith. I mean, you're part of the problem, Parker.
What can I say?
I mean, this is what happens to everybody, good people, when they get away from here.
I know.
But all right, so the 3 is iconic. Black, red on there. Hopefully this catches people's attention and is a marketing tool in and of itself.
Yes, I hope so.
Was it intended that way to kind of? You've got the hat on,
right? Well, it was just I don't know. Peter and Michael Ward came up with that 3. At times I thought we ought to call it 3 days or 3 days. I don't know. I thought it needed a little something else, but our distributor, In the Can Pictures, I think they liked it, and so in fact they picked it up, and I think they liked just the 3.
Well, I don't know this, but I mean, anytime somebody says 3 days, death, whatever,
Right.
I mean, somebody might think resurrection, Jesus, died 3, right? I mean, if you're getting really artistic and you're trying
anything,
connect the dots,
right.
Did you ever talk to the writer? Was there any kind of, connection there, kind of in an opposite way on this story of a guy who knew he was going to die, and then 3 days later he do? Because arguably Jesus knew that as well, right?
Good point. I don't know.
I was never good in math. I was always a history and English type major. And so immediately I thought that when I watched this, I thought, he knew he was going to die, and he purposefully did things the last 3 days before his death. Both characters, right?
Right.
Jesus and your man, Caleb Rumner.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know if that...
I don't know if that factored in there or not.
If I had talked to the diocese, I would have got us in the Catholic Church, I think. Right? I'd have pointed out that's what we were trying to do.
Be in our next movie, and if we have a church scene, I'll get us in there.
The film gets made, and how long does it take to make the entire film with all that stuff going on?
Well, we get the money raised. We go out and scout the area around New Mexico, that's where Sandy's from, is in Las Cruces. So we used the scenes in the movie in the house. That's Sandy's, Dearman's, my better half's. She's one of the producers. That's her mother's house.
Okay, that's good. That's easy. That's free.
That was free. We're looking for free and cheap, so we shot 4 days there, or 2 or 3 days there, and we shot Chope's bar. That was a day and a half, and then it took us about 13 days total.
Okay, so let's break this down. 13 days to shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
The scenes are broken up, and there's probably, I don't know how many scenes in this movie, 7, 8, 10.
Probably something like that.
Okay. And then I'm not a director, but I am a critical thinker. At least I think I am. And so I'd say, okay, to be the most efficient to get it done in 13 days, whichever scene or however many number of scenes are at one place,
that's how you do it.
We're probably going to shoot them all, even if it's not in order of the movie.
Absolutely. That's how you do everything. I didn't quite understand that at first, because we shot at her mother's house first. So we shot scenes that were at the beginning of the movie, the middle of the movie, and the end of the movie. All right, out of order and everything. So we'd shoot at a art gallery. We shot scenes out of order there. All of them are out of order, but you're right. They shoot everything at one location.
That just saves time.
Makes sense.
Right. You don't
Instead
have to
of moving around all over the place.
Right. Because moving in movies is money.
That takes money, yeah.
Moving in movies is money.
Yes.
So then it's the job of the editor, right?
Right.
To edit and put this stuff together and decide, because not all of the footage that you even shot of yourself went in the movie, did it?
No. There's a lot. Peter and I can't think of it. Peter and the editor and his people on the post-production side. Yes, they cut it down to make sure. We wanted to keep it under about an hour and 40 minutes. So yeah, you cut it, then you cut it, and then you put the music in there.
That's called the score.
The score, and you got to get the what they call the Foley. That's when you hear somebody running down the street and then their feet are clopping on the ground, or you hear a screen door going in the background, or a cup slamming down on the table.
Amplify sounds that you can see things happening in the movie.
Right.
Like,
so they actually, you see, they add that to that.
So it just kind of,
I did not know that, so
it gives
learned a lot.
Flavor and experience to the movie, right? I mean, the audio, the senses, everything are kind of tweaked. That's how they make a movie.
That's correct.
And then, but it's not surprising you don't know everybody because, like you said, it was shot in 13 days.
Right.
Uh,
It's you got all the assistant the directors,
there's a lot
second
of.
AD, and the sound guys, and the guy that actually is doing the filming. Who I've kept in touch with these guys since we stopped, and it's you meet some cool people and you really develop some relationships with them, and it's kind of bittersweet at the end because you have a rap party and all of a sudden everybody just goes away and goes back to their own separate next project.
And you know that, you may never see any of them again.
Good point. I may not.
Right. You hope
I know.
to.
I hope to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the bittersweet part is that you
Yeah.
might not see these people and you made something. Y'all produce something that's living on as a film.
Right. Because everybody comes in as strangers, most of them. Peter knew our photographer, Zach Boggs, and our sound guy. They'd worked together on a couple of things, but everybody else was, from local. We used a lot of local sound and gappers and the extras, and everybody in there was extras from Las Cruces. So you meet all these people and you really develop a relationship with them after a while, and it's very cool, but kind of sad when everybody leaves.
When the movie's over and edited, I'm assuming that the money that was needed it stops. That is, there's no more bills to pay at some point, right? Or do bills keep coming in?
Let me see, Chad. Yes, there are still bills coming in.
Okay,
I am still paying those bills.
Well, I was just curious if it cut off when it was finished, and then you found a distributor or somebody that would distribute the movie for you.
Right.
It's not like YouTube. I can load this show onto YouTube, right, and have a podcast. No. I don't know if I could load a movie on YouTube. And is that something that y'all?
I don't know if you could either, but we found a distribution company that liked our movie, and we signed a contract with them, and so they've been really, really good at they put out a lot of great promos and stuff for the last week or so since it's before it came out. And,
part of the contract is that they agree to promote it with assets that might get people to watch it.
Yes.
Because they, when you sign that contract, got a percentage of the movie's gross.
We will, yes. When it starts coming in, yes, we'll get a percentage. We split with them.
That's what I'm saying.
Over time, yes.
They, the distributor, the reason they're motivated, the industry, is that to make money.
Correct. I don't think they would have picked this movie up if they did not think it would make some money or would reach an audience.
Well, it's a good point because we've talked about it a little bit. All these films that are submitted at these film festivals, there's a ton of them.
Never make it.
And the distributors are going to put some of their own money into a case, right? By promoting
they have to put, they do. They put their own money into it to promote it. So it's you're correct. It's,
that's an optimistic thing to happen when they pick you up. Now, I don't know this distributor. Is this a distributor that has other films that are, have done well known, or is this, a very small distributor that, that's trying to make it?
It's Indican Pictures. They've been in business for 20 years, and they put out a lot of independent films mainly. And I think they've put enough out there to make them some money. And at the end of the day, to make an independent film for less than $1 million to actually get it distributed is almost really hard to do.
Well,
and the fact that they took a chance with us is pretty cool.
The good thing about it is that if it only costs, less than $500,000 to make, that if it's successful, to get to the black, making money is a much shorter road.
Exactly.
And so that's I'm hopeful.
That's why I like that idea, that model. I'd like to go make a couple more movies where they're not so expensive, and you can get your money back and build it up and make more movies.
But I don't know if you want to tell us or not, but I'm sure people are interested. Like a distributor, They don't make the movie. They don't do anything. All they do is, like a record company, they say, hey,
Right.
I'm going to promote you and you're signing with me and I
Right.
get this percentage.
Right.
Is there a recognized industry percentage when distributors take on a film and agree to promote it?
I think they're all different depending on each distributor.
I mean, like, because I'm trying to figure out how the pie is divvied up with Parker Clark and the investors, executive producers, anybody else other than the distributor a part of that money ratio?
Well, the way it works is any monies that come in, all the investors get paid back first.
Okay, so you're going to beat the distributor getting a dime.
No. We split it. They get their money. We get our money. And then when our money comes in, we have
a better deal or a less percentage?
If we split it, say 50-50.
Let's pretend that's the deal.
Let's pretend if we say it's $300,000. Say we make $300,000, they get $150,000. We get $150,000.
All right, and you still hadn't got about $150,000 that you still hadn't got back. So
that $150,000 will start paying back the investors based on their proportional investment,
right,
against the whole thing. Say then we got $600,000 or $700,000 or another $300,000, and then we split it another different way.
Wait, is it stay 50-50, or do you or the distributor get more once the investors are paid off?
No, it's more of a 50-50. And then if they sell another level of movies, then the percentage goes more to us and less to the distribution company. And then it goes up another level where it's down to 90-10, where we get 90 and they get 10.
And is that a time frame like over a year or
7 years?
Okay, so yeah,
I was going to say locked in for a long time.
Right, I'm saying before it gets to 90-10, we need 7 years to pass and this movie to be so old that there couldn't be too many.
We want this thing to get out there now
and get hot.
And then we get to that 90-10 in about 6 months.
Really?
I would love that.
Okay, but that's what I didn't quite understand is how do you get to the 90-10 the fastest?
You got to rent the movie. I need a million people to rent the movie.
I mean, but is there a dollar figure that you know of that if rented to that dollar amount would get y'all to the 90% for y'all, 10% for the distributor?
Well, no, I don't know a dollar amount. I just know as a percentage, if we do the math, we get 1 million people to watch it. That's $4 a pop.
Oh, that's $4 million.
$4 million. And if they got even 50% of that, that would get us all the way to the 90-10. You understand?
From that point forward, it would just continue as 90-10, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
if we went over there, yes.
Not knowing the exact math and not needing to, but knowing that, a fast start is important in this.
But yes, you want as many people to watch it as you can get to watch it. That's why I'm pushing the advertising and promotion. We've been promoting on Facebook, Instagram, all those platforms.
How are you promoting it? How are you promoting this movie on Facebook and Instagram? Yourself, like Parker Clark, or
no? I got a gal that works for us, and she I give her and say, go out and you can boost these things. You may know this. You can boost them nationwide.
Oh yeah, you can.
X amount of dollars. So I go boost Facebook for the next 3 weeks, and so she's going to continue to do that. I just did the deal with High Times Magazine because it reaches over 2 million people. So as many times that I can get it boosted out there for people to see. I would love to be interviewed or have in the New York Times, go see these movies this month type article or something. So yeah, we're still trying to do that.
Where millions of people live.
Right.
And they get to go home. But
I read the newspaper and it goes, these are the top 25 movies you should go watch this month. I'm trying to figure out a way to get us on some list like that, which would be kind of cool.
Usually I would think that would come from a distributor or an industry insider.
Right. So,
people that are like, hey, I got this film because the distributor, whoever those guys were, they're like, put me on there because they're going to make money if it does well.
Absolutely.
So the incentives are all in the right direction here. The distributors, they benefit.
They benefit every time we get, they get some too.
So that's good. That means that they're going to be working hard to make this work now because it's barely out. We're not even out but a few days.
2 days, yeah.
All right, we're 2 days out.
May the 5th.
Is there any dashboard or any way for...
Oh, it's my brother's birthday.
Today?
Happy birthday, brother.
What's today?
The 7th?
April the 7th.
May the 7th.
Oh, God, I'm off. May the 7th. Happy birthday, Colin Clark.
Absolutely.
Right? Fellow lawyer.
That's him. I got to call him.
I've known him my whole life, just about. He was on the swim team.
Yeah.
He got burned with a chemistry set. He has a little scar on his chest. Right. Not that many people know that.
No. Long time ago.
And he's been a lawyer a long time. He's done good.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm glad we got, if Colin ever watches this show, then
I hope he will.
We acknowledged him and
I'll make him watch it.
We'll give Callie a shout out as well.
Absolutely.
They're probably on the couch watching this or something at some point.
Hope so.
Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm. Maybe renting it just to give us an extra renter.
Well, first thing I did on Tuesday morning when it came out is I got up at 7:00 and went and bought the thing and made a pot of coffee and sat there and watched the movie before I went to work. So,
yeah, I mean,
somebody's bought it.
They're going to be saying, "Hey, there's this guy lives out in Flint. He's watched this thing 52 times."
I know, right? I'm going to keep watching that thing. Keep renting that thing.
The rent. I mean, that I don't. People get used to paying their subscription on Netflix. And then watching them for free in a way.
Right.
But other platforms, they're used to renting them, and hopefully, this price point. Did y'all have any say in what
No, I think that's just set by Apple, Google, Amazon, Prime. They're all set their own price point. So they range from $3.99 to $4.99. I don't think I've seen one higher than that, but there could be.
All right. Well, I'm assuming if I saw yours at $4.99 and this distributor took you on and has promoted this and shows y'all that maybe y'all have a chance for this to be a successful endeavor.
Right. You got to, it's a numbers game. You just hope they get a lot of people to go watch it. And so I say it's a great movie to go watch and rent.
Well, I'm not generally a trusting person in general. I'm kind of more of a, verify.
Right.
And when it comes to numbers that translate into money for you guys, how are you guys able to verify or to know that the numbers are real for what you might get paid?
We have to trust them, but we can also audit them at any time.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of contracts in business where they reserve the right to audit the books.
Absolutely.
But I didn't know if there was
we can audit that. That's a question that we've been asking ourselves today. Is there a way to follow how many people watch the movies? You can get an idea of, who's seen what and how many times it's been watched. So,
well, that was my question. I was getting to it, and I used the word a minute ago, dashboard. And what I meant is there a dashboard available that you can go to online and see kind of what the numbers have done the first 2 days and either being bought, rented,
right?
Where in the country it's doing better than others? I mean, is that capability out there that you know of?
No, but that is something I would like to get into and figure out.
Well, once you pass those questions along,
I'm going to ask that to our distribution company.
Are there any reporting requirements from the distribution company like, well, we contractually have to give you guys the numbers after the first week, first month, first quarter, anything like that?
What I can only remember is I think they have to give us some numbers after the first 6 months.
Okay. And then as far as payment, if there are, a lot of rentals and things are going well, when are they obligated to make the first payment for whatever percentage you are owed?
I believe it's after the first 6 months and then the next 6 months, and then it's quarterly.
Okay. So, I mean,
in
look, it's
perpetuity.
it's I mean, it's obviously they have to do all the accounting, they have to keep up with the stuff, right? I mean, it's something that you've gotten in good in a way, like
Right.
you kind of you put some money in, I'm presuming, but I know you put some other, help in that probably helped you get a executive producer credit.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what your percentage is, and I'm not asking. I'm just
Oh no, I just get my percentage of what the total movie costs. It's just you put in $100,000 and the movie costs $500,000, you get 100 over 500, or that, what is that?
yeah.
20% or whatever.
So, just you and me, are you personally optimistic that this film, getting started here, that do you think how do you think this is going to work? Or do you have a gut feeling?
I think it's going to work great.
Okay.
I really do. I really do. I think we did a lot of homework. Peter did a lot of homework, and Sandy did a lot of work. We all done a lot of homework, and we came up with this distribution company. I feel good about these guys. I think they like our movie. I don't think they would put it out there if it was not a good movie. I can't imagine why you put a movie out there that sucked. So yeah, I'm very optimistic. I just want to get the word out there more than anything, and that's why I thank you for allowing me to even talk to you about this.
I'm happy to do it, man. This podcast has always been about highlighting people in East Texas, and at the same time trying to help them, whether it be somebody who owns a restaurant,
right,
or whatever, or a philanthropy that's helping people. I enjoy this. You probably can tell. I enjoy podcasting.
Oh, I can understand that,
because what I enjoy most. I'm a very curious person, and I've learned so much today just from talking to you about something I would never have a way to know about.
right?
And so you learned it, and I learned it in an hour or so, all of it from you. See,
right.
I mean, I'm increasing my knowledge about everything.
And it's a really fun. Yes, if I told somebody the other day if I could do anything, I'd quit being a landman and go make movies all the time.
Well,
That'd be great.
Is there any industry tool or people that have given y'all feedback before it was released on the streaming services to tell y'all, hey, we think this is good, or hey, this will probably be average, or this might not hit? Is there anything y'all have gotten back, feedback?
We've gotten no negative feedback whatsoever, and no, everybody's liked it. Yes, it's been great.
Now we're coming to the end here, and so I think this is an appropriate question because we know from listening to you, you've been through the entire process from funding, to the location, to the filming, to the people involved, to the percentages, to the distribution, to everything, right?
Right.
After all of that, having learned whatever it is you've learned,
right,
is there anything you would do differently if you shot this same kind of movie and you did it the next time?
Oh, I would. Well, of course, I would be better prepared. Let's put it that way. I feel like we weren't near as prepared as we should have been when we first got to shooting the movie.
You're talking about when you got to Las Cruces?
When we got out there, we were kind of, like I said, you got a whole bunch of people rolling in at one time, and they all have different roles as far as camera operators, sound people, gaffers who do all the electrical and the lighting, and so you got all these people coming in. You have paperwork to fill out. You got to do the paperwork for 1099s. You have to fill out the paperwork if you're a SAG actor.
Before they can do any work.
Before any of that. So you've got all that going on like the first day, and it is really, it's very hectic, and it's, yes, you got to be prepared and have your ducks in a row. And I learned we need to have our ducks in a row before I go down that path again.
Because it probably increases the days those people are on location and getting paid.
Well, no, you just want to have everything ready to go. And when he walks in, here's you sign Chad right here, and this is your day rate or whatever you're going to be paid. And you got to get all that in, do an accountant, and then they have to keep up with that stuff. And
whose job is that on a movie set?
Well, that's the producer's job. So Sandy wound up with that job
Instead
by
of John
default.
John Aguirre?
John was supposed to have done a lot of that, and he did do a ton of it, but our accountant that we had hired, mother died the day before we were supposed to shoot, and she was supposed to be down there to take care of all this stuff.
Okay, so y'all had a little bit of
We had a little glitch right off the bat in between Sandy, and I'm not going to blame John, but it was just one of those things that she got dumped a lot of this paperwork in her lap, and John wouldn't have a lot of that. And so, yes, I've learned you need to have all those things kind of squared up, taken care of, so you don't have slowdowns or glitches. We had a school we were using where I'm the coach, and we got out there to start to shoot the film that morning, and the board member shows up out there and says, "You can't shoot here because you didn't get permission from the board." We got permission from a teacher, but luckily our scouting location guy had another school in his back pocket. So we had to leave there, move to another school, and we had to finish shooting that whole day out at that second location, which took time, but it's one of those things that just happens. You got to be prepared and have all that kind of stuff ready to roll.
Yeah, I mean, the old creative, artsy kind of guy can't be the guy in charge of the administrative stuff to make a movie, is what you're saying.
No.
You've got to be, we need the OCD, super prepared.
Right.
Think about every contingency kind of person to reduce the number of problems that might happen.
You don't want anything. Like, we were supposed to go shoot in Ruidoso, and it caught on fire. We were going to do a zip line with the kids. We were going to zip line across at a lake in Ruidoso, and it caught on fire, so we could not go up there. So we had to pivot, and they're climbing up a mountain to film the movie. So, yes, you got to be prepared for everything, man. It's crazy.
Sounds like you should have had Michael Palray as an actual Catholic priest in this movie, and things might have gone better.
Right. You may be right. Absolutely.
Well, Parker, this has been great and interesting, and I wish you and everybody involved all the success in the world. I'll rent it. I'll be watching. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Chad. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, my time right now.